Hi, I'm Chris Marmolejo, educator, healer, here today to talk about the necessity of confrontational conversation. This topic is important, and I wanted to bring it as a focus for this week because as we go forward learning the sordid history of America's past, as we realize that the foundation of America is rotten from racism and structural inequality and domination, we have to really figure out how to have these conversations with ourselves and with those we care about, right? And so it really is important to highlight that having conversations which may be uncomfortable are absolutely necessary. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. We must no longer live in denial about the harm being perpetuated by interlocking systems of oppression. It has been clear through the events of 2020 that we are past the point of denial. You can no longer deny or choose to turn away from the reality of Black people's and marginalized people's experience of oppression and of racism in this country. Having this conversation may be a way to release pain. It's necessary to have so that whatever happens is in some way an unfolding of what has been building for a long time, right? It may require conflict. There may be conflict with having these conversations, but it's finally releasing tension and energy which has been beneath the surface and very active in many's lives for a long period of time. So when you engage in these conversations, right, it's important to recognize that there's no shame in being wrong, only in refusing to learn. And that refusal to learn is in and itself a perpetuation of white supremacy. We must remain humble and recognize that we are all learning, and we must get comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, it's important to recognize that white supremacy also functions to make white people avoid feeling uncomfortable by any means necessary. So, and to engage in uncomfortable conversation is to begin to challenge white supremacy. You have to engage in these conversations around race and around how race personally impacts you, privileges you, marginalizes you, how you've perhaps internalized racism, the history of subtle conversation or overt racism that has been passed on to you from your ancestors, from your community, from those closest to you, from your friends, from your coworkers, right? But before getting defensive, you just really should realize that the baseline for socialization across the world is racism, sexism, homophobia, classism. You may not consider yourself a racist, but still house racist or dominating thought patterns or ideologies. That's because, again, the baseline is this socialization of domination. So, to really move yourself to becoming an anti racist is to be comfortable with unearthing some of these thought processes, is to really check and engage in a process of learning, a process of hearing other people's experiences, and to engage in a process of decentering yourself by asking questions, by holding people accountable, by presenting knowledge, by gaining more knowledge. So when you do engage in these conversations, it's still important to engage in consent, right? It is still a thing that often BIPOC people need to set boundaries around race-based discussions because of the manner in which white people engage in these conversations. You have to check if you are moving in an entitled manner and if you're expecting other people to do the work from you. Conversation by its nature, communication by its nature is a two-way street. And so really ask to say and see if this person has space to answer your questions, right? If this person has space or wants to share what you're asking of them. There is more than enough resources online for you to engage in this conversation in other manners. You can read books written by Black people. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch documentaries. That is engaging in conversation by engaging with the works and paying and supporting the intellectual labor of marginalized peoples. If a Black person does not have the space or the time or the energy to engage with you in conversation and to really help you, perhaps as a white person or as a person with other privileges, come to a deeper understanding, that does not mean you're off the hook. That does not mean that they are wrong. No, it just means that you have to find other manners to educate yourself and other ways to engage in conversation. And from your education, from reading, from listening, from learning, from hearing, take that conversation and hold the people around you accountable. Ask them as it comes up as well that, why do you think that? Do you know what I mean? Like, where are you getting that idea from? Here are the statistics behind this. Have you seen this? Have you read this? Being able to hold your grandparents accountable, hold your parents accountable, hold your siblings, your boss accountable, that requires confrontation. That requires you moving from a place of uncomfortability where your silence is complicit. At the very least, your privilege should be checked so that you can push yourself beyond the ability to observe from the sidelines. It's time for you to step up and say something. It's time for you to learn and to listen. And so, of course, with communication, again, there should be a give and take, a balancing of listening, learning, and speaking, making sure that you are listening and responding and not just readying a rebuttal. I hope that as we continue to share these videos, as we continue to share resources, you do support Black and Brown authors. You do center their stories, their histories, and their knowledge, and recognize how your thought patterns and how your experiences are complicated, are informed by this information. I hope that you continue to do the study, and I hope that you continue to engage in conversation, because in conversation we come to truth. Thank you.